I'm here to tell you, don't be scared of moving. Don't be scared of change. This 2023, God is going to shift certain things, and it's going to look like we're leaving success behind. It's going to look like we're leaving things that we would have loved behind. It's going to look like we're leaving things that were beneficial to us behind. But no, those things were temporary, because God's plan for you is greater than where you are right now. Hi everyone, my name is Hannah and you're welcome to Monday Morning Confession. How are we doing this day, this morning? How it's been the past few days of the new year? It's been a week already. If you've not been doing well in your resolutions, your plans, your goals, don't worry. God has got you. Don't be discouraged. You've got this, okay? And don't beat yourself too much, all right? You still have 51 weeks in the year to achieve great things. The only thing is, someone said recently that if you want to have whatever you want to birth in this new year, this is the time to get pregnant, because it takes 9 months to have a baby. I'm not talking about physical pregnancy, I'm talking about spiritual pregnancy, idea pregnancy, mental pregnancy, career pregnancy, whatever ideas you want to have. This is the time to begin to plan them, write them out, hash them out, take meetings, talk to people about them, and start to work on your ideas, plans, visions, and goals. Okay, that's just a bit of a side note. Today we're going to go into Rehoboth and Beersheba, like I mentioned in our last video, and it's just basically delving a little bit more what God has spoken to us about this year. So our text is taken from Genesis 26, and I'm just going to read excerpts from Genesis 26 just for the sake of time. Verse 3 says, stay in this land for a while. God was talking to Isaac. Stay in this land for a while, and I will be with you, and I will bless you. Okay? And then if you move a little further to verse 12, the Bible says, Isaac planted crops in the land, and in that same year reaped 100-fold, because the Lord blessed him. And so God spoke a word, a blessing over Isaac, and already by verse 12 we can see that everything he has done, everything he does, he's being successful. Verse 13 talks about his crops grew, he became so wealthy. But then now the challenge comes. Verse 16, Abimelech said to Isaac, move away from us, you've become too powerful for us. Okay, and if you read verse 17 to about 21, Isaac had to move 3 times. Each time he dug a well, he had invested, he had poured out himself, he had planned, this is where I'm going to settle. And people contended over the things he had worked for, things he had done, and they took the benefits for himself. The well he had dug said, it's not yours, you can't have it. He had to repeat 3 times. He had to repeat what he thought he had succeeded in 3 times. He had to repeat what he thought. He had to leave behind the success, the benefits, the things he had achieved at those locations. He had to keep moving. But by the time he got to 22, the Bible says he had moved on from there, dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. He named it Rehoboth, saying the Lord has given us room and we will flourish in the land. Now, when you're looking at this story so far, I feel like in this year, God is saying to us, first of all, don't be too scared to leave behind the things you think you have achieved. Don't be too scared to leave behind the things that you think, you thought, this place, this location, this job, this friendship, this relationship, whatever it is, this is the one. I've worked so hard. I have, God has declared he's going to bless me in this land, and so I'm going to stay here. But if I take you back to verse 3, you have to recognize that God said to him, remain in this land for a while. And so certain things that God has placed in our lives was supposed to be for a while. But because we're so eager, we're so excited about the blessing, we're so excited about that new thing that God has given to us, we forget that he said for a while. In fact, some of us, we close our ears to the fact that he said for a while. And so I don't know what it is you're choosing to remain in, that God has said this is supposed to be for a while, but you want to make permanent. I'm here to tell you, don't be scared of moving. Don't be scared of change. This 2023, God is going to shift certain things, and it's going to look like we're leaving success behind. It's going to look like we're leaving things that we would have loved behind. It's going to look like we're leaving things that were beneficial to us behind. But no, those things were temporary, because God's plan for you is greater than where you are right now. And so don't be scared when discomfort comes your way. Don't be scared when it looks like people are fighting you. Don't be scared when it looks like people are challenging you. No one seems to understand. He seems to accept the things that God is doing in your life. Don't be scared. Because God sometimes needs to make you uncomfortable so he can move you to the place of purpose. So sometimes we think blessing, or when God speaks a blessing over us, it means, oh, nothing bad is going to happen. No, sometimes the discomfort, the disagreement, the thing that seems to make us not satisfied, those things are part of the blessings, because those things are the things that move us and push us into the place God is calling us. So 2023, be flexible, be ready. God, there will be a shaking, there will be a change, there will be a move around, there will be relocations, there will be breakups, there will be realignment. Don't be scared, don't be worried, because God is moving you to Rehoboth, the place where you will truly flourish. But more importantly, the goal is not Rehoboth. The goal is Beersheba. Because the journey through Rehoboth will lead you to Beersheba. Those moments of discomfort, those moments where people make you feel like, oh, maybe what you're doing is not worth it. It makes me feel like all the time you've invested, all the finances you've invested in that thing seems not to be working out. The whole journey of pain and loss is actually pushing you to your Rehoboth, but not just to your Rehoboth, it's pushing you to Beersheba. Because at Beersheba, if you go to Genesis 26 verse 3, he says, from there, from Rehoboth, he went up to Beersheba. And that night the Lord appeared to him and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless and increase the number of your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham. And the Bible says, Isaac built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. So listen, I understand that sometimes loss is hard to bear. I understand you've worked so hard and you've invested a lot of time, money, emotions, effort into that thing that you thought, this is where I'm going to be. But the Lord is saying to you, don't be scared if it pushes you beyond that limit. Don't be scared if it pushes you out of your comfort zone. Don't be scared. Actually, be prepared to be out of your comfort zone this season, because what God's going to do in you and through you and for you is beyond what your comfort zone can accommodate. It's greater than what you're used to. And so you will be in strange places. You will be in unusual places, but don't be scared. Because in verse 23, he says, I am the God of your father. Do not be afraid. I am with you. He is with you. And it might not feel like it. It might not look like it. But God is with you. And his word is, don't be afraid. Because he's leading you to the place, just not wide open spaces, but a place of encounter with him. A new kind of an encounter with him, where he speaks to you, where you hear his voice. But also a place where you can rest, where you can build an altar to him. God is taking us to a place where we can truly serve him without limitations, without restrictions, where we can truly be all he's called us to be, where we can encounter him, and where we can build an altar. And so 2023, as I've said, don't be scared of movement, change, but be ready to build an altar. Be ready to encounter God, and where you encounter him, build an altar. Be intentional about building the place where you meet with God. Be intentional about building the place where you commune with God. Be intentional, 2023, about building an altar of fellowship with God. And so this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, our confession is, I'm moving through my wide open spaces into my place of encounter with the Lord. As you move through your wide open spaces and encounter God, I want you to be intentional about building an altar. We'll talk more about that in our next session, but I want you to have a beautiful week, and I want you to keep confessing. Be conscious of the fact that you're moving through wide open spaces, the place where you encounter God, to rest in the place of his presence. I love you all. Take care and have a blessed week ahead.